Before you pick a house in Knoxville, you have to understand the map. You can be looking at two different houses, same price, but they can give you different lives. One home can put you closer to restaurants, shopping, schools, medical offices, and a quick commute everywhere. Another home for the same price might give you bigger land, new construction, more privacy, but hey, it'll take you longer to get to places.
And this is where relocation buyers get a little bit surprised. They find a house online that they love the price, they love the square footage, they love the acreage, but then they realize that it's not necessarily the type of lifestyle that they want. The commute might be a little bit longer than expected, places to go shopping might not be as abundant as they thought, or maybe the area feels too busy. Maybe it feels too rural, maybe a little too suburban, or maybe it just doesn't feel the way it did on the map.
So in this video, we are going to talk about Knoxville by geography. We're going to be talking about West Knoxville, South Knoxville, North Knoxville, Maryville, Lenoir City, Oak Ridge, and Lowden. But we are also going to talk about the surrounding areas because people who are relocating here tend to compare those.
And by the end of this video, instead of asking where in Knoxville am I going to live, you're going to ask a significantly better question. What part of Knoxville fits my lifestyle? All right, well, let's start with why the map matters. And the biggest reason it matters is because Knoxville is not one single location. You have plenty of different locations. And when somebody says I'm moving to Knoxville, they truly are moving into a significantly larger region than you're probably imagining. I mean, for instance, we have Farragut, Harden Valley, Halls, Carnes, Powell, Fountain City, South Knoxville, North Knoxville, East Knoxville, Maryville, Alcoa, Oak Ridge, Seymour, downtown Knoxville, and maybe even something else in between. There is just a lot to Knoxville and Knox County that doesn't just involve downtown Knoxville.
And each of those places can make sense for the right buyer. And they're not interchangeable, and people think so. Say a home in Knoxville for $550 will not give you the same lifestyle that if that home is for $550 in Powell, South Knox, Maryville, or Loudoun County.
Yeah, because I mean, a $550,000 house in Loudoun County is going to be significantly bigger and probably with significantly more land than a $550,000 house in some place like West Knoxville or Farragut. In Farragut, you might not even, especially places like Sequoia
Smaller.
Hills,
Oh, well,
right?
yeah,
You won't even find a house at that price range. Everything else is going to be way higher. So again, Knoxville has so many different types of...
And it's incredible. I used to live in South Knoxville, now I live in West Knoxville. Vibe, it's completely different.
Oh my God, yes.
And the commute is completely different. Don't think about Knoxville just as a one whole thing.
And this is why we really want to try to inform buyers to think further beyond the listing itself. Because a listing tells you square footage, it tells you acreage, it tells you bedrooms, bathrooms, kitchen, things like that. But what it doesn't tell you is lifestyle, commute. What's a Monday morning like, you know? It doesn't show you that school zone conversion. Are you close to a place where you might have to change school zones? Are you far away from the school? Are you very close to the school?
And that too. I mean, how is traffic Monday morning at 7:30 a.m. if you're in school zone traffic?
I've seen this happen plenty to my friends where they have a school. Actually, in front of my apartment itself, in front of my apartment, there is a school, a literal school, and 8 a.m. traffic. Absolutely disgusting, right? Because it's backed up maybe a mile, but seriously, it is not told on the listing that, hey, remember there's a school zone right in front of your house.
So before you fall in love with the house, just understand the area around it, okay? This is especially true in Knoxville. Roads, ridges, rivers, hills, and growth patterns can make the map a little deceiving. Knoxville traffic is not the same as Atlanta or Nashville, but the roads still matter. A place can look very different online and feel very different when you're driving it every day. That is why commuting, lifestyle, and convenience need to be part of your search.
All right, well, let's get into it, right? Let's start with West Knoxville, because this is the place most people look at when they're thinking of relocating to Knoxville. And when people say West Knoxville, they might think Bearden, Rocky Hills, Cedar Bluff, Bluegrass, North Shore, Farragut, Harden Valley, or the Turkey Creek area. That's 7 different locations just for one singular part of West Knoxville. We're not even talking about Knoxville as a whole. And none of them are even remotely close to being similar, right? The only very important thing that is similar between them is convenience, right? Because you have the mall there, you have medical facilities out there, you have all kinds of shopping. It's a convenient place to live. A lot of people always think about it first when they think about Knoxville.
So for buyers coming from bigger cities, that side of town can feel very familiar because it has suburban convenience people are used to.
So the trade-off is demand. Money might not stretch as far as you think because there's going to be a lot of people trying to move there and live in that area. So your money isn't really buying land or privacy for that matter. Your money's buying more convenience, shopping, and school districts as well, because they have some pretty good school districts within those.
And let's be honest, yes, you can buy bigger lots, that area of Knoxville, but how much is your budget? It really depends on how much you're willing or really you have been pre-approved for if you're doing a loan. That is the decision, my friend. Do you want convenience, higher resale value, or do you want more space and privacy? You can sometimes get a balance. Really, buyers need to know what matters most.
Now, Farragut and Harden Valley deserve their own conversation because they're some of the most asked about locations from relocators. And honestly, that makes sense because it's one of the most well-known areas, I'd say, in Knoxville, period, right? Because in that area, it's polished, it's well-established, it's convenient, and it has strong access to Turkey Creek and West Town Mall. And on top of that, you have access to more shopping and other parts of the lake. I mean, you kind of have a little bit of everything within those areas, but it comes at a price point.
Now, Harden Valley feels different. Harden Valley is now a growth corridor, especially for buyers who want new homes, modern layouts, sidewalks, newer subdivision, access to Pellissippi Parkway. That can be a great fit, but growth also means you need to pay attention to traffic, infrastructure, further developments, and how the area will feel over time.
Now, let's say you want more modern suburban comfort. That's where Farragut really shines. But let's say you're looking for new construction, more yard, modern layouts. If those are your highest priorities, Harden Valley might be the place for you. Neither one is necessarily right or wrong in any way, shape, or form. They just solve different problems.
Now let's move north. North Knoxville includes Corryton, Fountain City, Halls, Powell. Some areas in Broadway go into Corryton, and everything in between. This side of town can give buyers a different value conversation than most in-demand west side areas.
Powell and Halls can both be fantastic locations if you're looking for that suburban feel, access to Knoxville, and a little bit more breathing room compared to West Knoxville. But you may see older homes, you'll probably see some new construction as well. You're gonna see your absolute traditional subdivisions and properties that feel a little bit more spread out compared to those West Knox pockets.
Now, Fountain City can feel different. You'll find more of the Knoxville character, mature trees, established neighborhood, and proximity to downtown without feeling downtown. For the right buyer, this mix can be appealing.
The main thing to understand about North Knox is how different it can be from pocket to pocket. For instance, some places feel more suburban. Some places feel a little bit of semi-rural. The further out you go, you'll definitely get a little bit more of that rural feel. And for this exact reason is why you cannot judge North Knox as a whole just by one listing that you find.
North Knox can make sense if you want value, more space, established neighborhood, or even access to Knoxville without being locked in the west side prices.
Let's have one of my most coveted conversations and most excited conversations, South Knoxville. This place has a lot of character and is truly becoming a very big topic when it comes to relocation, specifically because of the IAMS Nature Center, the urban wilderness, trails, river access, breweries, plenty of local restaurants, and UT. On top of that, depending on where you are, actually most of the area has very quick access to downtown Knoxville.
Now, this area doesn't always feel like traditional suburb, and some buyers love that immediately. If you want outdoor access, character, local feel, and a lifestyle close to downtown without being right in the middle of it.
In South Knoxville, you might find older homes, renovated homes, new construction infill, smaller cottages, unique properties, and as you move further out, you might find larger options, especially if you're going down towards like Chapman and Seymour areas. The conversation shifts again. That right there is when you get a tiny bit more rural. And this is a really wonderful spot for buyers who want to be in South Knoxville, but also want to have quick access to the Smoky Mountain.
Now the trade-off, it's convenience. South Knoxville does not always give you the same big box shopping concept that West Side does. So if you want a major convenience 5 minutes from your home, you might want to rethink the right pocket.
For those buyers who care about trails, downtown access, river lifestyle, and character, South Knoxville is a very, very exciting conversation to have.
Now, downtown and the historic neighborhoods is a whole different conversation, and that includes downtown Knoxville, of course, Old North Knoxville, 4th and Gill, Island Home, Park Ridge, and similar areas around.
If you want walkability, coffee shops, nightlife, Market Square, immediate downtown access, breweries, immediate UT access, and city energy, this part of Knoxville might really appeal to you. However, even though you have all of that stuff, the trade-offs are extremely real.
You may have older homes, smaller lots, street parking in some areas, historic district considerations, renovation needs, and less storage that you will find in newer suburban homes. And this doesn't make it bad. It just means the lifestyle has to match you.
And a mistake some people make is saying that they want that older charm. But then they forget that older charm means renovations needed. Older systems like electrical or your HVAC, maybe even your plumbing. It can come with older windows that might need to be replaced, and windows are quite expensive, especially if you have to do an older home because they generally have bigger window panes. You're generally going to have tighter closets. Those homes back in the day didn't have the big, massive closets that these newer constructions have today. You have different layouts. Maybe some things can be a little quirky. And you generally have either a one-car garage or just a smaller garage in general, or like Hilmar said earlier, street parking. Some buyers will say, that's exactly what I want. And this is exactly why we're making this video in the first place, so you can have the decision to know exactly what you want to do and figure out the lifestyle that fits you in a Knoxville pocket.
Now let's move outside of Knoxville to Maryville and Alcoa. A lot of people relocating to Knoxville or Maryville or Alcoa are considering these places just because it has quick access to the airport, quick access to the mountains, a strong local community, and a slightly different pace.
Now, Maryville has become a very popular option for buyers who want to be near Knoxville, but not necessarily in Knoxville. You still have your shopping, you still have restaurants, you still have your community, and you still have medical access as well, and plenty of restaurants. There's especially a restaurant downtown called Bella. Amazing, amazing Italian restaurant. Give it a try if you haven't already. You also get the option of being closer to Townsend. You get the option to be closer to the Smokies. And that area also has quite a bit of outdoor activities.
Now, Alcoa matters, so if you travel frequently, being closer to the airport might be more important than what you expected.
The trade-off is commute, right? Because you are pretty far away from everybody else. Work, family, friends, church, or a weekly routine is specifically in Knoxville, you need to test that drive before you decide. For some people, the drive from Maryville to Knoxville feels completely normal, and truly it is. But for some people, it's absolutely not. They don't want anything to do with it. They don't want to be on Pellissippi. They don't want to be on I-40. None of that.
Let's go to Oak Ridge, and that is a place people should understand. It is west to northwest Knoxville, but it is not just outside of Knoxville. Oak Ridge is its own entity.
There's not much to do there. Okay, it's a very quiet town, to be honest. It is growing significantly, I'll give you that. But just know that there's not much to do there for now.
Now, Oak Ridge has a lot of history though, job base, housing stock, and a lifestyle on its own, but it has it.
This side of town makes sense for people who are connected to O&L, Y12, government contracting, science, research, or anyone whose lifestyle is connected to the west side of Knoxville. Depending on your search, you may find mid-century homes, established neighborhoods, maybe some larger lots, and access to outdoor recreation. There is Mountain Lake over there, and they are huge, trails and waterfront activities.
So for one buyer, Oak Ridge might feel very far away. But for others, it's the smartest decision. So this is why the area really depends on your lifestyle.
Let's talk about Lenoir City, Tellico Village, the Tennessee National, and the lake or golf lifestyle. This is where the search comes to less about Knoxville convenience and significantly more about Knoxville lifestyle.
Buyers look west or southwest when they're talking about lake access, golf, privacy, larger homes, community amenities, and slower pace, while still being within reach of Knoxville. For some people, that might be the dream. But for others, being so far from UT, medical centers, and West Knox shopping, it might be too much.
Now, if you're working remotely, if you're retired, maybe semi-retired, or prioritizing lifestyle over commute, these areas are absolutely worth comparing. But you need to understand HOA fees, club memberships, which I wasn't really in any understanding of until I sold a house there and figured out that, wow, we're looking at maybe $10,000 to $13,000, $15,000 a year. Marina access, golf costs, architectural rules. They are very specific about who builds there and what type of house they build on those lots. And one of the most important things that a lot of people forget about is how often do you actually even use those amenities? Are you paying a significant amount of money for something you're never gonna use?
Now let's talk about schools, because school zones affect how buyers look at the map. And we're not here to rank what school is best, what school is not. That is a personal decision, and you should always verify school zones directly with the district.
Now, on a real estate side, school zones can affect demand. They can affect pricing. They can affect competition, and most importantly, they can affect resale. Two homes may look very close together on a map, but they might have two different zip codes and two different school districts. A listing may be outdated or incorrect. They've changed the zoning maps and haven't updated it on that listing. Please make sure to look at where that district lands and do your research.
Even if you don't have kids, school demands still affect your resale value. So it is really worth understanding that before you buy.
Now, another major decision that matters actually significantly a lot, I want to say this again and again and again, is new home, new construction versus an older home. If you want new construction, your search may point you towards Harden Valley, maybe Carnes, Powell. Halls is another fantastic option. And some, but not really that many parts of South Knoxville, Blount County, Lowden County, or other growth areas depending on your budget.
Now be clear, new construction can give you modern layouts, open kitchen, bigger closets, energy efficiency, builder warranties, and not immediate biggest repairs, and fewer immediate maintenance concerns. The trade-off: smaller lots, HOAs, less mature landscaping, and a location farther from the center of town.
Now, older homes, they show up in areas like Bearden, Sequoia Hills, Fountain City, North Knox, North Hills, Island Home, and 4th and Gill, and also some established parts of South Knoxville. This is going to be more of your common denominator in South Knoxville. These homes can give you character. They can give you mature trees, unique architecture. We're talking like Victorian style homes in some of the areas, and locations that newer subdivisions just really couldn't recreate.
Now, they can also bring questions about HVAC, roof age, electrical, plumbing, foundation, drainage, insulation, windows. Overall, renovation costs. The right answer is not new or old. The right answer is which trade-off are you willing to take on?
And land and privacy are also another gigantic part of this relocation map, because a lot of people say they want space or lots, and we always ask them exactly what does that mean? What kind of space? What kind of lot? Because for some people, space might be, I can touch my neighbor's next door house, right? And for some other people, space means 10 to 15 acres. So we always have to ask, what exactly does that mean?
So the closer you are to the most convenient areas of Knoxville, or say downtown, the harder it will be to find larger lots at a convenient price.
And let's just kind of be real here for a second. That thought process exists in just about every city you can think of, be that a major city or a smaller city or whatever. The closer you get to convenience in downtown, the more expensive and the less lot you'll have.
So if land and privacy are your top priorities, the farther out you need to go.
And that can be a great move, but more land also means significantly more responsibility. Let's just start off with the basic. Mowing the grass. Some of us are not a big fan of mowing the grass. Also, some very important things, depending on the property type, you may be dealing with like a septic. You may be dealing with well water. You may be dealing and probably will be dealing with driveway maintenance. Is it paved, or do you have gravel all the way up and do you have to be taking care of that gravel? You got to worry about drainage, trees, mowing, longer drives, or, and very importantly, different emergency response times. How long is an ambulance going to take to get there versus someplace like right downtown? Privacy can be extremely valuable, but you have to understand what comes with privacy.
So this is a very simple formula for you to pick your side of town. Start with your weekly life, not with the house.
How often do you go downtown? Do you need to be close to the airport? Do you want to live by the lake? Do you want to live by a golfing community? Do you want that big box convenience? Or do you want it to be quiet? And most importantly, how much land do you actually want to maintain?
So once you answer those questions, the maps get smaller. And that is just a good thing, because you know you're not going to be wasting time looking at houses that you're never going to fit in.
If convenience, shopping, medical access, and suburban, that's what you're looking for the most, West Knoxville, Farragut, Bearden, Rocky Hill, Cedar Bluff, and other near West Side areas are where you are going to want to spend most of your time.
If newer construction and growth is your priority, Harden Valley, Carnes, Powell, even Halls, and part of the surrounding counties will be your search.
Now, let's say you value space, but also access to Knoxville. And if that matters more than being like in the most requested, West Side suburb or anything like that, you can take a look at North Knox, Powell, Halls, other little nearby areas that just make sense.
For outdoor lifestyle, downtown access, trails, river proximity, and more distinct local feel, South Knoxville deserves a serious look.
All right, let's say you're looking for walkability, restaurants, historic charm, big city energy, downtown Knoxville, and the surrounding historic neighborhoods may be for you.
For airport access, mountain access, and smaller city feel, Maryville and Alcoa can be strong options.
If you're thinking lake, golf, privacy, or a lifestyle community is a must for you, look at places like Lenoir City, Lowden, Tellico area, Tennessee National, and similar pockets are worth comparing.
The biggest mistake relocators and buyers in general is think that the house is gonna solve everything. They think if the house is beautiful, it's gonna work. But remember, the area creates your daily life.
Because look, the house is where you cook, it's where you sleep, it's where you make memories, it's where you relax. However, the area shapes everything else outside of that. We're talking about your commute, your errands, your weekends, your school conversations, your social life, your access, like are your family and friends able to visit you, and your resale ability as well, to keep in mind that economic aspect of that as well.
And this is why homes can be the same price, but still not be equal. One might be the better house, but the other one might be the better life. So the goal is to get those two combined and make it as good as possible.
And if you're also selling a house in Knoxville, this is very important to keep in mind. Buyers aren't only buying bedrooms, bathrooms, and kitchens, but they're buying the location just as much.
So when we market a home, we want the buyer to understand what the area offers: commute, shopping, schools, outdoor access, downtown access, neighborhood feel, and daily convenience can all shape how the buyers see the value.
If you're thinking about moving to Knoxville and things seem a little bit overwhelming, please reach out. Tell us your budget, tell us your timeline, tell us your lifestyle, what you want to avoid, and what your weekly life looks like. Because the best fit may not be the same area that you're possibly thinking of. We may be able to show you something you didn't know about.
So drop a comment below and tell us where you're looking: west, north, south, Maryville, Oak Ridge, Lowden, or somewhere else in East Tennessee.
And if you're not sure yet, just comment map down below and tell us what's most important to you.
Don't forget to subscribe to Living Life in Knoxville for more real estate videos, relocation, neighborhoods, and what buyers and sellers need to know before they make the move.
We'll see you next time.